You guys waited for it, and it's here, so let's begin. Absolutely amazing job with the tracking. Everything the camera pointed at felt so intentional, and you didn't have the issue of wondering why isn't everyone just charging at the same time. You solved it in two ways I noticed. One was going out of your way to make Darth Vader have some really cool tricks. I really liked the impaling effect you did. And the other one was by having them filmed separately and not making each one of the kills last too long. So great job on that, and the effects that were practical were just beautiful, but just make sure that when you mask, don't remove what's holding onto the object. Remove everything that's not the object, and you could keep the shadow if it's there. It takes longer to do, but it looks so much better, and you're clearly patient enough to go the extra mile, so 9 out of 10. Having the video lead up to a beat drop is creative, and I've only seen it done once, so I'll give you points for that. You raised the volume of the music in the end, but the energy of the video got even lower. It was just a still frame of them getting caught, but that would have only worked if you had the video earlier be more energetic so it could be worked as a subversion. You know what I mean when you have the video lead up to one thing, but then you do the exact opposite? Also, some parts, especially at the vent part, needed more contrast, but that's just me being nitpicky. I really did like the set designs, and the use of live action was also great, but it just still needed to do a little bit more to get to the higher level. 6.4 out of 10. This is how you escalate energy, starting off peaceful and then bringing chaos in the nether with amazing angles and masking to get those angles, and it was insane. The practical effects were insane here, and the choreography was beyond anything I've ever done. Genuinely, I don't think this could have been done better. There was a teaser in the end for what's to come, and I'm so hyped. I really liked the attention to detail that you didn't just do the nether waste, but you did several biomes, and you can kind of see it with a bluish grass. And the thing about that is that no one else was gonna be calling that out, since it wasn't needed for the video, but you still went out of your way to add stuff like that. There was so much care put into this video that is genuinely beautiful. And I absolutely adore the gore effects you did here. They didn't need any blood, but you still went out of your way again to make what seems to be clay models of the figures, and it made all the stuff with the chainsaw just go above and beyond. 10 out of 10. The physical humor was amazing here, and the same thing goes with the energy in them, but make sure that in the parts where the background was plain, I mean when they were like blank and all, maybe you could have used colored paper to make it look more visibly distinct, that it's a different area, like how you went all black in the end. You've done it before, and I recommend for you to embrace it even more for the plain sets, and you can get creative with it, same way you were creative with how the heads of the figures were. Also, amazing job with the comedy. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but just try not to abuse the side lighting too much, since it also makes a lot of the locations feel the same. But in the part where you use the black background, that's where it worked the best in my opinion. 8.5 out of 10. The issue with this video is that you could have removed like half of it, maybe more, since especially in the beginning of the video, literally nothing happened. What you could have done in the whole minute where they were just literally just standing still and not doing anything for a whole minute, maybe they were instructed what they were gonna do for the mission in like 15 seconds, and that right there would have cut out half of the video, which would have only left the last quarter of the video where you showed more effort in, and that would have just saved you so much more time. You're also better off using your own voice for the voice acting, since I believe you were using AI voices and they were speaking in the slowest form possible, but I'm not trying to make this into something that's making fun of your skills, since especially in the last quarter of the video you proved you can do a lot of cool stuff. You just needed to simplify your storytelling in the first 3/4 of the video, and you could have also removed the silent second long pauses in between of the dialogues where also nothing happens. And the thing that bothers me about it is that when nothing's happening, we're missing out on the stuff that we know you can do, like set design and that cool teaser in the end that should have been this video instead, with all the extra runtime you would have had if you taken the advice I'm saying right now. Sorry, but I can't give you anything higher than a 4 out of 10, since 80% of the video was holding you back. It's fine to film with a wider aspect ratio, but remember to frame them for that very thing, especially in the first half of the video. You have to keep in mind for the headroom, which that first part of the video was either missing it or there was just too much of it. So if you're used to filming in different aspect ratios like the default 16:9, you have to keep that in mind. So always either zoom out or try to film from further away. Great job with the set design. It's fine that they were small, but because you put the extra effort in the backgrounds which enhanced what you had, and the whole rating system for these videos is based off of how much effort people put into how much was possible, basically how much potential did you fulfill. This is helping boosting up your score. That's also why I'm way harsher for people that are trying to do more in a video, like a longer video, since they have more things they could get wrong, since they also have a lot more things they have to do. So trying to reach the full potential of a video is harder when the video is longer. But if you don't get what I mean, it's basically like how with great power comes great responsibility. For a good amount of the middle part of the video, it was just very zoomed in, so I just recommend for you to zoom out. It was hard to figure out where some things were, and that's how you know you push it to the limit. The best thing in your case to do is just continue practicing with things I just told you, and you'll get something higher than a 7.5 out of 10. And I really do mean it, because I can really see that you have a talent for writing adventure stories. A noticeable issue with your combat is that they lack push, so when anyone shoots a laser or strikes, it just looks like they're being held onto. Work on the easing in and out so their movements don't feel like pulses. That way it also feels more fluid, since your movement is basically they do something fast, they pause, and then they do something fast. Which only proves my point on why you need easing in and out, because having the parts where a character slows down and then speeds up makes the video feel so much more fluid and impactful. And not using that is holding you back. If there's something here I have to compliment, it's definitely that you hold off in some parts of the video having several people attacking at once without the vibe that they're just taking turns. If someone's fighting, another one was probably knocked out. So when people are not attacking all at once, it feels natural. And a lot of people struggle on this, but I'm glad you had that technique to stop that. For right now, it's a 6 out of 10, but it could definitely be improved on more in the future. The use of music and pacing gave this video a perfect amount of energy. No time was wasted and everything happened fast, but not fast enough where it felt rushed. If there's something you need to work on, it's definitely to get a better voice for Joker and the range of motion for Batman's punches, and that's it basically. I would talk more about how you filmed everything in a 2D way, but you committed to it, so I assume that's for stylistic reasons. A lot of people that do the 2D kind of filming always struggle with the headroom, but it doesn't really seem like you had that issue here. Also, the way you shot Batman inside the Batmobile, really dark, but everything was still very noticeable, was absolutely beautiful. You should have done more of that in this video, but great job though. 8 out of 10. Try to get your characters more in the center, but also try to get the lighting to be in a different angle, because the angle you have it makes everything that's dark turn into this faded gray, killing the contrast. Also, let your characters move more around when they fight, since they're standing for most of it. And the Lego stick handle you used to hold stuff, and when they were levitating, you could have used that on the figures as well, giving you more of a chaotic freedom, which would have let you do so much more than just having the characters stick in one place. With that alone, there was so much you could have done here, especially with the figures you have here. Because of all that potential you could have used, but you didn't, I can't give you anything higher than a 5 out of 10. Everything except the Viking part was really overblown with the lighting, so I recommend changing the lighting and setting up the camera to be either in a lower ISO or a lower shutter. Make sure the ISO is always at the lowest though. It's easier to do this on a stop motion app if you have it on manual, and that's why I always tell people to film on manual. I know you probably think stuff being loud makes them funny, but even then you gotta lower it to a degree. The creativity here though is excellent, and I feel like it's a mashup of everything ever made. Consistent energy throughout the video helped to give this video a whimsical touch, and I think that's really cool. But again, the volume was just really loud, to the point it just couldn't be seen as humorous. It was just painful for me. 6.8 out of 10. The music here was used in such a perfect way, it just fit amazingly. I hardly find a video where the music fits this well, and isn't just used as like background music, but it actually like adds to the feeling, and I love that so much. I have to applaud you for that. Using what I think is paper for the background is also really well done, and I tell people to do this, however I just don't see them fully adjusting to it in the way you did. The framing was great, but sometimes it feels like the characters were too much on the right, especially when the alien got out of the ground, I believe. Having the ending not end with action was actually a really good idea, since it was subversive in a good way, since the video was really leading up to it and then you just went 180. And you did it in the perfect amount of time in this video, so it always felt impactful. And also great job with the animation. I didn't even mention it. This is beautiful, especially for someone with just 11 subscribers. 9.5 out of 10. I really liked how dark everything was, yet everything was still very visible. Having a lot of headroom actually helps out this video, because the set is supposed to feel dark and mysterious, and always given that extra headroom that usually people use when the camera's turning up to show something, but you just have it like that constantly, always gives it extra feeling of unease. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but that's actually how it makes me feel. The set design is still gorgeous, and the score elevated the tension, though there was an issue where Donald Duck was just moving way too slowly, especially when he struck the mummy. It was really distracting, especially since the rest of the video was golden. 9 out of 10.
I'm about to bust.
The effects here were really impressive, but there were a lot of times where the pause in between of like action really sucked up the runtime. Like this 10-minute video could have been cut down to 7. Not because any actions needed to be removed, but instead that there were just so many gaps of silence in between the video. If your goal was to get a long runtime, don't ever try to do that, since the video should only be as long as it's needed. Otherwise, you're forcing it to be something that it's not. If you remove those gaps, you have a good video hiding in here. Most of the time, the framing and the set design is good as well, but the lighting feels too room-like. Like, it's very noticeable that you're filming it with your ceiling light, but I already know that you have another light because you used it in the beginning of the video. So you just should have embraced that to make this video feel more in tone with what's happening, since a lot of this video is just filmed in the same way, the same kind of lighting. If you removed about the 3 minutes of empty space I told you about, this video would have gotten something higher than a 6 out of 10. Actually, with a few adjustments, this video could have been as high as a 9 out of 10. Alright, if I told you you're gonna be in the next long form, that probably means it's gonna be the one right after this. This is all I got for today, so like and subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time.